As the summer sun shone brightly, a group of friends gathered for a beach day near a remote stretch of sand. Upon arrival, they spotted an unusual mound of black rocks near the water's edge. Curiosity drove them closer, compelling them to investigate the strange accumulation that seemed out of place against the golden sand. Their initial amusement turned to horror as they realized these were not rocks at all, but something far more grim. "Yo, check that out," Aman said as he pointed at the black rocks near the water's edge. He began to walk toward it, but his friend, Anna, tried to stop him. "Wait, come back," she yelled, realizing the rocks weren't rocks at all. But Aman didn't hear her, or at least he pretended not to hear her, and got a little too close. His shuddering scream echoed across the beach, catching the attention of almost all the beach-goers. Anna gasped and covered her mouth with her hand as she ran to her friend, who lay on the ground in agony. "My legs! My legs!" he yelled as he grabbed his foot with his hand, thinking he felt his warm blood running through his fingers. But it wasn't his blood. Suddenly, he pulled his hands back in pain, yelling for someone to help. "It stings!" he yelled as he looked at his hands covered in some sort of black slime. After that, Anna's face began to go blurry, and sounds fainted out. Then everything turned black. But what were those strange rocks? What happened to Aman? And will he get better? "Don't just stand there! Call an ambulance!" Anna yelled at her friends, who were standing at their towels, frozen in place. They quickly searched for their phones and dialed 911 at the same time. Anna stayed by Aman's side, who had passed out from the pain. She looked at the black substance on his hands and feet and noticed his skin was turning red. Fearing the black substance was still irritating his skin, she knew she had to get the stuff off. She quickly rushed to get her towel and began to wipe the black substance off, revealing Aman's red, swollen skin that looked horrendous and almost made Anna throw up. "How long until the ambulance arrives?" she yelled at her friends. They all yelled different times back at Anna, so that wasn't much help. Aman slowly began to wake up, but he soon began to grunt in pain again. Suddenly, someone in the distance began to yell in pain as well. Someone else had gotten curious and touched the black rocks. It was an older woman who immediately ran to the water to rinse off her hand. It seemed like the woman felt a bit better after rinsing off her hand, so Anna went to grab a bottle of water from her bag. She couldn't carry Aman to the sea, so this was the next best thing. However, when she poured the water over his hands and feet, he began to scream in pain again, and it seemed like it only made matters worse. Anna didn't know what to do anymore, and Aman could see it on her face. He tried to get up so he could walk back to his blanket, but the muscles in his feet began to cramp, and before he knew it, he fell backward into the rocks. Anna tried to grab his hand, but it was too late, and Aman's back was now fully covered in the stinging black slime. Adrenaline took over, and Aman pushed himself up, covering his already swollen hands in the black slime again. But all he thought about was getting as far away from those rocks as possible. Anna tried to get out of his way, but she was too slow, and Aman pushed her aside, leaving behind the black slime from his hand on her shoulder. She could feel the stinging sensation spread through her entire shoulder, and it felt like her skin was on fire. Her eyes began to well up with tears as she yelled out in pain. It was like a scene from a horror movie. More and more people began to yell and scream in pain, having touched the black rocks, and no one knew why. The ambulance finally arrived, lights flashing and sirens blaring. Paramedics jumped out, rushing to assess the situation. "We need more help," one of them shouted into a radio, looking around at the injured beachgoers. Aman lay on the sand, writhing in pain, while Anna tried to soothe him despite her own agony. The paramedics started triaging, quickly realizing they were overwhelmed by the sheer number of people needing immediate attention. "We've called for backup," the lead paramedic announced, scanning the beach. "But it'll take some time." The beach had turned into a chaotic scene, with people crying out in pain and confusion. Anna cradled Aman's head, trying to keep him calm. "Hang in there, Aman," she whispered, her own pain evident in her voice. The paramedics did what they could, but it was clear they needed more resources and fast. "Help! My daughter!" a frantic mother screamed, drawing the paramedics' attention to a little girl clutching her arm and sobbing uncontrollably. The paramedics rushed over, realizing she needed immediate care. "We're taking her to the hospital first," one paramedic said, lifting the girl gently. The mother followed, tears streaming down her face. As the ambulance doors closed, Anna and the others watched, hoping their turn for help would come soon. Amon's screams grew more desperate as the ambulance drove away with the little girl. "Please, someone help him," Anna pleaded, her voice cracking. The remaining paramedics tried to reassure her, but they were stretched too thin. Aman's agony was unbearable to watch, and Anna felt helpless. "We'll get you out of here, I promise," she whispered, holding his hand, feeling the heat and swelling from the black slime that covered it. One paramedic stayed behind, determined to understand what had caused this disaster. He approached the black rocks cautiously, wearing gloves and a mask. Kneeling down, he examined the substance closely, noting its strange, almost living quality. "This isn't natural," he muttered, taking a sample. As he worked, he kept glancing at the suffering beachgoers, knowing that uncovering the truth about these rocks was crucial to stopping the spreading pain. Anna's shoulder pain worsened with each passing minute. The burning sensation spread, making it hard for her to catch her breath. "It hurts so much," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. She tried to focus on Aman, who was still groaning in pain, but the agony in her shoulder was overwhelming. Every breath felt like fire, and she knew she had to do something fast before the pain consumed her completely. Desperate for relief, Anna stumbled toward the sea, clutching her shoulder. The black slime seemed to burn hotter with each step. "Hang on, Aman," she called out, her voice shaky. She waded into the water, hoping the salt water would help. The cool waves lapped against her legs as she sank to her knees, submerging her shoulder. She prayed for the pain to stop, gasping as the water touched the slime-covered wound. The seawater brought Anna some relief. She could feel the stinging sensation ease slightly, enough for her to catch her breath. "Thank God," she murmured, her mind racing. She splashed more water on her shoulder, the pain dulling a bit more. She looked back at the beach, seeing Aman still in agony. The seawater might be the key to helping him, but she needed a way to get it to him. Anna's eyes fell on a group of children playing with buckets nearby. They laughed, filling their buckets with water and building sand castles. An idea sparked in her mind. "That's it," she thought. "If she could get those buckets, she could bring the seawater to Aman." She stood up, determined, and started toward the children, hope flickering in her chest. This might be their chance to ease Aman's suffering. With newfound determination, Anna rushed to the children. "I need those buckets," she muttered, steeling herself for what she had to do. The kids were too engrossed in their play to notice her approach. She reached them, her shadow casting over their sandcastle. "Hey, can I borrow these?" she asked, urgency clear in her voice. The children looked up, confused, but she didn't have time to explain. She had to act quickly. Anna grabbed the children's buckets, causing them to cry out in protest. "Hey! That's ours!" one of the kids yelled, tears welling up in their eyes. But Anna didn't have time to explain. "I'm sorry, I'll bring them back," she shouted over her shoulder as she ran. She ignored their cries, focusing on the urgent task at hand. Aman needed help, and she couldn't waste a second. Anna sprinted to the sea, the buckets swinging wildly in her hands. Her heart pounded as she reached the water's edge. She plunged the buckets into the sea, filling them as quickly as possible. The cool water splashed over her, but she didn't care. Come on," she muttered, urging herself to move faster. With the buckets full, she turned and raced back toward Aman. Anna hurried back to Aman, who was now lying on his belly, trying to avoid more contact with the black slime. "Aman, I'm here," she called out, her voice filled with urgency. He groaned, barely able to lift his head. "Hang in there," she said, her heart aching at the sight of him. She knelt beside him, ready to do whatever it took to ease his suffering. Anna carefully poured the seawater over Aman's back, hoping it would help alleviate his pain. The water splashed over the black slime, washing it away slowly. "Please, let this work," she whispered, watching the slime dissolve. Aman's breathing was ragged, but he seemed to relax a bit as the water cooled his burning skin. She kept pouring, determined to help him as much as she could. Anna's immediate goal was to remove as much of the black slime as possible from Aman's skin. She used the seawater to rinse away the sticky substance, her hands shaking with effort. "It's coming off," she said, more to herself than anyone else. She could see the raw red skin beneath, but at least the slime was going. She glanced at Aman, knowing this was just the beginning of their fight. Aman screamed from the shock of the cold water hitting his burning skin. "No, no, no!" he cried out, his body tensing up. The sudden cold against the heat of the burn was too much. Anna's heart wrenched at his pain. "I'm sorry, Aman," she whispered, tears in her eyes. She knew she had to keep going, despite his screams. She had to help him, no matter what. Anna returned with more buckets, her determination unwavering. She dumped the water on Aman's back again, watching as the black slime continued to wash away. Aman flinched but didn't scream as loudly this time. "Just hang on," she urged him, pouring the water steadily. She could see patches of his skin becoming clearer, and it gave her hope. She would keep going until every trace of the slime was gone. The pain started to lift for Aman, giving him a small measure of relief. "It's getting better," he gasped, his voice hoarse. Anna smiled through her tears. "See? It's working," she said, her hands never stopping. She felt a glimmer of hope. The seawater was making a difference, and Aman's breathing seemed to ease. They weren't out of the woods yet, but at least it was a start. Other beachgoers followed suit, rinsing the black slime off in the sea. "Look, it's helping them too," Anna pointed out to Aman. People were carrying their injured friends and family members to the water, hoping for the same relief. Cries of pain turned to sighs of relief as the seawater worked its magic. The beach was still chaotic, but now there was a sense of shared hope and action. Meanwhile, the paramedic collected samples of the black rocks for analysis. He carefully placed pieces of the strange substance into containers, labeling them. "We need to figure out what this is," he said, glancing at the beachgoers trying to clean themselves. He knew this was a crucial step in preventing further harm. With the samples secured, he hoped the lab could provide answers quickly. The sound of approaching ambulances filled the air, bringing a sense of urgency. Sirens wailed, cutting through the chaos on the beach. "They're here!" someone shouted, relief evident in their voice. Anna looked up, her heart pounding. More help was finally arriving. The flashing lights and blaring sirens signaled that the situation was being taken seriously. It was a glimmer of hope amid the turmoil. Paramedics flooded the beach, tending to the numerous injuries caused by the black slime. "Over here!" Anna waved frantically, guiding them to Aman. The paramedics moved swiftly, assessing wounds and administering first aid. The beach was a flurry of activity, with medics rushing between patients. Anna watched as they carefully lifted Aman onto a stretcher, her worry easing slightly, knowing he was in capable hands. Police arrived and cordoned off the area around the mysterious rocks. Yellow tape fluttered in the breeze as officers directed people away from the danger zone. "Please stay back," an officer instructed firmly. The beachgoers, now more aware of the threat, complied without much protest. The police presence added a layer of order to the chaotic scene, ensuring no one else would be harmed by the strange substance. Aman was taken to the hospital for further treatment and pain relief. The paramedics loaded him into the ambulance, his face twisted in pain, but his eyes filled with hope. "You're going to be okay," Anna said, squeezing his hand before they closed the doors. The ambulance sped away, sirens blaring, and Anna watched it go, praying that Aman would get the care he needed. Anna's shoulder was bandaged after being treated with a special solution. The paramedic worked quickly, applying the solution to neutralize the black slime's effects. "This should help," he said, wrapping the bandage securely. Anna winced, but nodded, grateful for the relief. The burning sensation began to subside, and she could finally breathe easier. She looked around, seeing the beach slowly returning to order. The police evacuated everyone from the beach, closing it to prevent further incidents. "Everyone needs to leave, now!" an officer called through a megaphone, directing people away. Beachgoers gathered their things quickly, casting nervous glances at the cordoned-off area. Anna followed the flow, her mind on Aman. The once lively beach was now empty, a stark reminder of the strange and dangerous event that had unfolded. Anna followed Aman to the hospital to provide support and ensure his well-being. She couldn't bear the thought of leaving him alone. "I'm coming with you," she insisted, climbing into the back of the ambulance. The ride felt like an eternity, but finally, they arrived. Anna stayed close as they wheeled Aman inside, determined to be there for him every step of the way. Aman received antibiotics and pain relief for the severe pain he was experiencing. The doctors moved quickly, assessing his condition. "We're giving you something for the pain," a nurse said, injecting medication into his IV. Aman's tense body began to relax as the medicine took effect. Anna watched, her worry easing slightly. She knew they were in good hands, but the sight of him in pain was still hard to bear. The story of the strange rocks made it to the evening news, raising public concern. An unusual incident at a local beach has left several injured, the news anchor reported, images of the chaotic scene flashing on the screen. Anna's phone buzzed with messages from friends who had seen the broadcast. She glanced at Aman, hoping this attention would bring answers about what had happened and why. The news report lacked concrete information about the nature of the black slime. "Authorities are still investigating the mysterious substance," the anchor continued. Anna frowned, feeling frustrated. They needed answers, and soon. The vague details only heightened her anxiety. She looked at Aman, his eyes closed in a restless sleep. They needed to know what had caused this, not just for them, but for everyone affected. Anna noticed strange red spots on her hand that began to itch while she sat beside Aman's bed. She scratched absent-mindedly at first, but the itching grew more intense. "What is this?" she muttered, examining her hand closer. The spots looked angry and irritated, a worrying sign after everything that had happened. Anxiety bubbled up inside her, making her heart race as she tried to stay calm. She quickly called for a nurse to examine the mysterious spots on her hand. "Excuse me, can you help?" she asked, her voice tinged with urgency. The nurse approached, taking a close look at Anna's hand. "Let me get something for that," the nurse said, hurrying away. Anna's mind raced with possibilities, none of them comforting. She glanced at Aman, hoping this wasn't another sign of trouble. The nurse provided an ointment to alleviate the itching and discomfort. "Apply this. It should help," she instructed, handing the tube to Anna. Anna quickly spread the ointment over the red spots, feeling a cooling relief almost instantly. "Thank you," she said, trying to relax. The nurse nodded and left, leaving Anna to sit back down beside Aman, her worry slightly eased, but not entirely gone. Anna returned home that evening, anxious about the rocks and worried about Aman's recovery. Her mind replayed the day's events over and over. "What were those things?" she whispered to herself, feeling a chill run down her spine. The house felt emptier without Aman. She paced the floor, unable to shake the feeling of unease. The red spots on her hand were a constant reminder of the day's horrors. She couldn't shake the uneasy feeling about what had happened at the beach. Every noise made her jump. Every shadow seemed sinister. Anna sat on her couch, staring blankly at the TV, unable to focus. "This isn't over," she thought, dread settling in her stomach. The events of the day had left a mark deeper than the spots on her hand. She knew she had to find out more. Anna went back to the hospital the next day to check on Aman's condition. Her heart raced as she navigated the sterile hallways. "Please be okay," she whispered to herself, pushing open the door to his room. She had barely slept, the events of the previous day playing over and over in her mind. Seeing Aman was the only thing that could ease her worry. She found Aman sitting upright in bed, looking significantly better than before. "Anna," he greeted her with a weak smile. Relief washed over her as she rushed to his side. "You look so much better," she said, her eyes scanning his face for signs of pain. Aman nodded, his expression calmer. "They've been taking good care of me," he replied, his voice steadying. A news reporter entered Aman's room, seeking an interview about the beach incident. "Mr. Taylor, can we have a moment of your time?" the reporter asked, camera crew in tow. Anna frowned, sensing Aman's discomfort. "We just want to understand what happened," the reporter pressed. Aman shifted uneasily in his bed, clearly not eager to relive the traumatic experience for the evening news. Aman refused to talk, not wanting to speculate about the strange rocks. "I don't think I'm ready to discuss it," he said firmly, glancing at Anna for support. The reporter persisted, but Aman shook his head. "I don't want to spread misinformation," he added. The tension in the room was palpable. Anna squeezed his hand, silently supporting his decision to stay quiet. He expressed his uncertainty, avoiding any misinformation about the incident. "We still don't know what those things were," Aman explained. "I don't want to guess and cause panic." The reporter finally backed off, sensing Aman's resolve. "Thank you for your time," the reporter said, before packing up and leaving the room. Aman sighed, visibly relieved. Anna stayed by his side, knowing their ordeal was far from over. The news reporter left, and Anna stayed by Aman's side, strengthening their bond. "You did the right thing," she said, her voice soft and reassuring. Aman smiled weakly, grateful for her presence. "Thanks for being here," he replied, squeezing her hand. They sat in silence, the tension of the morning easing away. Being together, even in the hospital, brought them a sense of comfort and solidarity. Around midday, a police officer arrived with updates about the beach incident. "Excuse me, Mr. Taylor, miss," he began, nodding at Anna. "We have some information about what happened at the beach." Anna and Aman listened intently as the officer spoke. The room felt charged with anticipation, each of them eager to understand the cause of their painful ordeal. "We've identified the source of the slime," he continued. The officer revealed that the strange rocks were actually black-spotted sea cucumbers. "Sea cucumbers?" Anna echoed incredulously. "Yes, they're a type of marine animal," the officer explained. "They're harmless under normal circumstances, but they can release a toxic substance when threatened." Aman and Anna exchanged bewildered glances. The mysterious rocks were living creatures, something they never would have imagined. The officer continued to explain the nature of the sea cucumbers. The sea cucumbers had expelled toxic slime called holothurin as a defense mechanism. "The slime is meant to deter predators," the officer explained. "Unfortunately, it caused severe reactions when people came into contact with it." Anna nodded, the pieces of the puzzle starting to come together. "So that's what burned our skin," she murmured. The officer confirmed, adding that the substance was particularly irritating to human skin. The holothurin caused severe skin irritation and intense pain among those affected. "It's a potent toxin," the officer said. "Even a small amount can cause significant discomfort." Aman winced at the memory of the burning pain. "No wonder it hurts so much," he said. Anna felt a mix of relief and frustration. They finally knew what had caused their pain, but questions still lingered about how it all happened. Anna asked how so many sea cucumbers ended up on the beach, but the officer had no answer. "We're still investigating that," he admitted. "It's unusual for them to wash up in such large numbers." Anna frowned, feeling the mystery deepen. "So, we still don't know why this happened?" she pressed. The officer shook his head, looking just as baffled as she felt. "Not yet, but we're working on it," he assured her. The police were as baffled as everyone else about the large presence of sea cucumbers. "We've never seen anything like this before," the officer continued. "Our marine experts are looking into it, but it might take some time." Anna sighed, her mind racing with unanswered questions. Aman nodded slowly, still processing the information. "So we just wait?" he asked. The officer nodded. "For now, yes. We'll keep you updated." Biologists arrived to carefully remove the sea cucumbers from the beach. "We need to handle these creatures with care," one biologist explained to the gathered crowd. They wore protective gear as they worked, gently placing the sea cucumbers into containers. Onlookers watched curiously, murmuring among themselves. Anna felt a sense of relief knowing experts were handling the situation. "At least they're in good hands," she thought, watching the careful removal. They sent the sea cucumbers to a suitable habitat to prevent further incidents. "We're relocating them to an area where they won't cause harm," the lead biologist announced. The team worked efficiently, ensuring each sea cucumber was safely transported. Anna and Aman watched as the containers were loaded onto trucks. "Hopefully, this will keep the beach safe," Anna said. Aman nodded, grateful for the efforts to prevent another accident. Aman and others affected by the holothurin made a full recovery in the hospital. "You're healing well," the doctor told Aman during a checkup. Anna felt a wave of relief. "Thank goodness," she whispered, squeezing his hand. The hospital buzzed with news of patients recovering, bringing a sense of closure to the strange ordeal. Despite the lingering questions, Anna felt optimistic about the future and their newfound resilience. The beach remained closed until it was deemed safe for the public. Signs and barriers blocked entry, and lifeguards patrolled to ensure no one crossed the line. Safety first, an official explained to concerned locals. Anna and Aman, still recovering, understood the necessity. "Better safe than sorry," Aman said, nodding in agreement. The once bustling shore now stood silent, waiting for the all-clear to welcome visitors again. The incident prompted further investigation into the sudden appearance of the sea cucumbers. Marine biologists and environmentalists worked together, scouring data and examining currents. "We need to understand why this happened," one researcher stated. The local news covered the efforts, keeping the community informed. Anna and Aman followed the updates closely, eager to learn more about the mysterious event that had upended their peaceful day at the beach. Anna and Aman returned to the beach, now safe and free from the toxic sea cucumbers. "It's so good to be back," Anna said, breathing in the salty air. Aman smiled, feeling the sand beneath his feet. The beach looked as beautiful as ever, a stark contrast to their last visit. They set up their towels, enjoying the tranquility. "Here's to a fresh start," Aman toasted with a bottle of water. Aman and Anna's friendship grew stronger, bonded by the shared ordeal. They often talked about their experience, finding comfort in each other's company. "We've been through a lot," Aman remarked one evening. "Yeah, and we've come out stronger," Anna agreed. They supported each other through the recovery, their bond deepening. Their shared memories of the beach incident became a testament to their resilience and unbreakable friendship. The beach returned to normal, but the memory of the incident lingered among the locals. Conversations often drifted to that fateful day, with people sharing their own experiences and theories. Anna and Aman became somewhat local heroes, known for their bravery. "It's something we'll never forget," Anna said, looking out at the waves. The beach held a special place in their hearts, a reminder of the strength found in friendship and community.